Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are now in set number 2 of Air Force Ace versus KT Rolster, and who do we have? None other than the Dancing Queen. Whoa! Sorry about that. I have my own stream open, or I have like the dashboard open for Twitch TV, and like it has my stream open in it, and I just got like a commercial, and it was really loud, so I apologize. Anyways. Yeah, it's going to be Firebat Hero here coming out for Air Force Ace. Of course, we did see him play StarCraft 2 on opening day. And spoiler alert, because apparently people still haven't watched those games, Firebat Hero did lose. I think he was actually the only Protoss player, the only StarCraft 2 Protoss to actually lose on opening day. So, not exactly something you want to be known for, but hey, there it is. And it looks like his opponent is going to be Action here. Now, Action, this guy, has quite a backstory, at least from last season. So for those of you who aren't really familiar with the Brewer teams, basically KT Rolster has for the past few seasons really relied on obviously Flash and also on their Protoss player Stats, who was long considered like Flash's sidekick, and then everyone else on KT was just kind of meh. But then last season, alright, in the regular season of Pro League, this guy Action and also Hoja, the two Zergs on the team, were like not really good, and they didn't get played that much. And then suddenly in the playoffs, these guys went like almost undefeated. I think between them they were like 10-1 or something absolutely bonkers. Just suddenly coming out and just showing that the KT Zergs are ridiculously strong. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is just like a playoffs thing where they play well under pressure or something. I mean that's what Hoja's reputation is. But Action, hopefully he can show us a good game here against Firebat Hero. It is going to be a TVZ on Neo Ground Zero. Action, by the way, his nickname is the Mafia Zerg, just because of how he looks. So yeah, if you hear that, don't be surprised. Anyway, we're getting started here, and hopefully we get to see some dancing. So it looks like Firebat Hero will be the blue Terran at the bottom right. There he is. And Action will be the yellow Zerg at the top left in cross spawns. We're going to have a cross map TVZ on Neo Ground Zero. Now, a lot of people have been saying this is now a Zerg map. It used to be Terran favored in this matchup. I do see how the changes that, Kessa made quite a few changes to this map, and most changes were beneficial to Zerg, but I don't know. I don't think it's particularly imbalanced. I mean, I guess we'll have to see from this season's statistics. Now, Action, once upon a time, was known for his late game ZVT, his amazing Defiler play, basically just having like a Defiler exactly where he needed it at the right time, just like perfect, almost like magical Defiler sense. There's the rest of the KT roster. Is that? Who is that? I wanted to say that was like Luxury or something, but it doesn't quite look like him. And I don't think Luxury would show his face, but I don't know who that was. Anyway, oh, is it Perfective? Holgaria says it's Perfective. That's possible. Perfective, previously on KT, he retired, right? I think he retired last season or something. Anyways, yeah, what was I saying? Action used to be an amazing late game ZVT player, basically of the caliber where he could play toe-to-toe against Flash in a long game. Like, there were actually some really amazing games of his where he just goes into the late game with Flash and he's just like, equal to the task. Unfortunately, he fell off a little bit last season, not really playing that amazingly until the playoffs. So yeah, let's see what he can do. Firebat Hero, in the meanwhile, TVZ, he's pretty good at it. If you have not seen the game yet, go and check out Firebat Hero versus Savior on Python. After this series, of course. After the series is finished, go on YouTube and search for that, Firebat Hero versus Savior. Someone can actually link it in the chat, I'm sure. That game will make you a better person. It will actually enrich your life. Like some people, they take vitamin pills or something, to just make themselves healthy. You don't have to worry about that. All you got to do is watch Firebat Hero versus Savior on Python, and then you'll be fine. So anyway, it looks like a drone coming in here, doing a bit of spinning action. Of course, Action did go for the 12 hatchery, so doing the standard drone scout as well. And he's going to see a 1-Rax expand here from Firebat Hero, so he's going to know that his 12 hatch is safe. So both players really just playing standard, safe, economic plays. And oh, looks like we do have a link in a YouTube link in the chat. I hope that is in fact Firebat Hero versus Savior. I'm not going to check it. But anyway, this drone continues to be annoying. Looks like a 3rd hatchery in the base. So actually I'm going to do a standard 3-hatch build here. Interestingly, I say standard, but you know, the past few Brood War ZBTs that we've seen in Pro Leagues have been 2-hatch builds, I believe. But yeah, the 3-hatch build is more standard, I guess, more economic play. When you go for a 2-hatch build, you generally have to do a bit more damage in the early game to kind of catch up economically. It looks like gas just now being taken. Now, Firebat Hero did go for a relatively quick gas there, which indicates to me that he might be going for a fast +1 attack upgrade on his Marines, and then going for a 4 or 5 racks build that was fairly popular last season in TVZ. On the other hand, we also did see some players go for some kind of weird, you know, fast tech builds like fast science vessel or whatnot. So it's also possible that we'll see something like that. But right now, I'm just going to put him on a fast +1 5 racks or 4 racks or whatever. In the meantime, the fast 4 or 5 racks, by the way, I mean, so before that, I think the standard was going for like 2 racks in Academy, so basically taking up a little bit faster, going for faster science vessels. But then, but recently, you know, last season, players go for the 4 or 5 racks in order to put a lot more pressure on. You basically, the Zerg standard is 3-hatch Mutalisk, where, you know, they get out 9 Mutalisk, 10, 11 Mutalisks, and they try and harass you, keep you back in your base, and take a 3rd base. If you go for a 4 or 5 racks Marine, you can actually put a lot of pressure on when the Zerg's going Mutalisk and basically force him back and force him to defend with the Mutalisks rather than attack, which is very, very nice. And it's actually going to be 2 factories here. Wow, Firebat here going for mech play. Did not see this coming at all. This is actually very unusual to go straight for mech. Usually we see Terran players go for bio first because it's a lot more mobile in the early mid game, and then do a late game mech switch, because in the very late game mech army is generally stronger than the bio. But to go straight for mech here, this is actually something that we did see for a little while. I want to say, I don't know, a year or 2 ago. You know, Terran players were trying this out, but I don't know, you know, recently most Terrans are just have reverted back to the bio play, so I'm really curious what Firebat Hero is going to bust out here. The thing is, maybe, you know, Action maybe hasn't played against this in a while and kind of, you know, half forgotten what to do against it. I mean, I'm sure, you know, the pro gamers are not going to forget, but, you know, just will probably be a little bit surprised by this, because I'm certainly quite surprised by this. I'm curious what this upgrade is actually. 2 factory, I mean, usually you just go for Goliaths, like mass Goliaths with a few supporting siege tanks. That's generally the composition you want when you're going for mech against a Zerg. Action, meanwhile, has actually got a Hydralisk den. Is he actually going for Lurkers? It looks like Action was not going for the usual 3-hatch Mutalisk play, was instead going for Lurkers. I don't know if... I'm like 99% sure he didn't see the mech play coming, so it must be Lurkers, but actually that might not be too bad, because he can just switch and get some Hydra upgrades as well. And you know, the Zerg composition, the Zerg way to deal with this kind of mass mech play is just to go for Hydralisks and Mutalisks and out macro the Terran player, just take a ton of expansions, just get 1 billion units, because they are going to be less cost efficient, you know, unit for unit. Against the mech army. But interestingly, Firebat Hero actually went for Speed Vultures first. This is some, like, it's interesting because it looks to me almost like a pre-Mutalisk Speed Vulture timing, and this is actually going to hit perfectly because there's not even a single Sunken Colony out, and all the Hydralisks are away from home. Firebat Hero is murdering all of the drones. Oh my goodness, so many drones gone down there. He's even managed to focus down a Hydralisk here. The Sunken Colony is finished though, so Action at least will stop the Vultures from getting into his main, but at what cost? A scan even going down there. But Firebat Hero with some sick timing here, although there are 5 Lurkers morphing at the south side of the map. The Vultures barely miss them. They do not see the Lurkers making. He's actually looking for a 3rd base here. He's a little bit confused why there are such fast hydralisks. He must know that it's going to be lurkers now. I'm surprised he's not building a second bunker. I mean, there's absolutely no reason for there to be such fast hydralisks unless it was a two-hat or you know, a fast lurker play. And he's not building a second bunker. Now, mech units are generally good against lurkers just because they have very high hit points. The Goliaths have a ton more hit points than the Marines, but it looks like, here we go, the attack is coming in. There is a turret, but it's a little bit far back, and the lurkers are going to do so much damage to the SCVs, but no, it looks like there's not enough supporting Zerglings, so he is going to have to back up here. And Firebat Hero's Vultures continuing to deny mining at the natural here. I think Firebat Hero has just taken a fantastic lead in this game, pulling out a somewhat unorthodox strategy here, going for a fast 4-speed Vultures into Goliaths. Very, very interesting stuff. So the lurker's now burrowed outside of the Terran Natural here, going to do a bit of a contain, but you know, having gone for mech, he's not going to mind that contain too much. He's going to be able to get some siege tanks out in good time, and as I said before, the mech units pretty resilient to the lurker fire. They also have really nice range. Goliaths actually have really nice range on their ground attack as well as the air attack, and oh, looks like the Vulture's actually coming from the backside. Firebat Hero with a scan is actually just going to clean up all of the lurkers. Wow, Firebat Hero taking charge in this game here. I am so surprised. I mean, wow, Firebat Hero, what a baller. He didn't show a great game in his StarCraft 2 game, but he's showing a really nice game here in Brood War. So, in the meantime, a few Speed Vultures hiding here. Note that Action still hasn't taken the third base here. I mean, you really do want a third base by this point, having gone for a three-hatch lurker. His economy is just going to fall behind it. You can't be on even bases in a ZVT. Zerg has to stay at least one base ahead of the Terran, especially when the Terran is going for mech play. As I said earlier, the general strategy to defeating mech is to out-expand your opponent, out-macro him, and just have way more units and overwhelm him. Do like a bit of a Sauron Zerg style. But unfortunately, for Action, he took a huge hit economically early on, and he's got no third base. Looks like he's going to go take the 9 o'clock base here. One interesting thing to note, he is taking the close third base, as opposed to like a far away main base, which is what you would see if a player had been going for fast Mutalisks, because it just, you know, it's better to take a far away main, and then the Terran has to walk further away, and your Mutalisks and Lings are much more mobile than the Terran army. But anyway, if you just look at the supply, it's 94 supply for Firebat Hero against the 44 supply of Action. He's over double the supply right now, and you know, even though Zergs are generally a little bit behind in supply, you can't be that far behind. So this is, I mean, you know, Action's going to have to pull a miracle here to come back. I think he's just so far behind. And Firebat Hero is not easing up. He's continuing to be aggressive with these Vultures. It looks like the Hydralisks have to be a little bit careful here. Just going to wait for an Overlord to come and spot those Spino Mines for them. That's right. If you're from StarCraft 2, Overlords and Brood War actually provide detection naturally. You do not need Overseers. They're just boss mode, man. They're actually OP. Brood War Overlords are OP. They all provide detection. Just by making supply, you get free detection. How awesome is that? Like, just think about that. Whenever you make an Overlord, like your supply block, and you're like, oh man, I should make an Overlord. Not only do you unsupply block yourself, but you also get detection. Oh, it's sick. But it looks like we have some stop lurkers here underneath the siege tanks. Oh my goodness. He sieged directly on top of lurkers. Brilliant move by Action. Wow. But just look at that. The mech. Oh my god. Just everything blowing up here. Firebat Hero's entire army gets demolished by the stop lurkers. Amazing strategic move. I could barely even see those just because of the texture of the map. But sick play. But a spider mine going off on the Hydras. Tit for tat there. Oh my god, genius strategic play there from Action. If anyone doesn't know what just happened, basically lurkers, if you have them either grouped with an Overlord and you hit hold position, or you have them attack a building that is in a fog of war, if enemy units walk over them, they will not attack. They just don't do anything until you hit stop, and then they all attack at the same time. So basically you can set like lurker traps. You just borrow lurkers, wait for enemy units to run on top of them, and you just kill everything from the splash fire. It is so amazing. But the thing, of course, the risk then is that if the enemy doesn't walk over them, you're just like, oh, well, these lurkers have been completely useless. It's a very similar idea to burrowed banelings in StarCraft 2, except it's even more beautiful. Oh, so good. Of course, it's slightly more risky as well, because lurkers are significantly more expensive than banelings. And you do need several of them to make it effective, so really, really nice. Man, that is just so cool. I mean, the thing is, also, I just want to emphasize, like, you know, you occasionally see stop lurkers used, especially against bio forces, because lurkers, when there's no upgrades on either side, lurkers will two-shot marines, so you can like just skewer a bunch of marines with only 2 lurkers. But against mech, the mech army is really, really beefy. Like, Goliaths and tanks have so much HP, so you need a lot of lurkers to do the damage. And he just had like 5 lurkers burrowed there. He's just like, yep, I know Firebat Hero is going to walk here, so I'm just going to put all my lurkers here. And that was exactly what happened. Oh man, so good. In the meanwhile though, I mean, Firebat Hero, he's getting his 3rd base up. He still has a huge supply lead. Despite that excellent move, Action is still like less than half the supply of Firebat Hero, so you know, doing a fancy stop lurker is nice and all, but he still has quite a way to go to come back in this game. Looks like he does have speed for his overlords now. He's going to do some mine clearing. He's going to be very, very careful though. Looks like some more lurkers here going to take down these vultures. The scan goes down. Looks like Firebat here actually just going to try and take these lurkers down with the vultures, but some hydralisks do come in to help out. So a bit of a waste there, but oh, looks like Siege Tank's going to come clean that up though. Anyway, still on Lair Tech. Pretty standard actually. When you see ZBT where the Terran's going bio, the Zerg will generally try and go for a Hive much more quickly, get those defilers out. But when you're facing a Terran going mech, you really actually don't need the Hive for a very long time, if at all. And whoa, how did that mine actually not go off? What the hell? Wow, that was really weird. He didn't even shoot it. Wow. Dud mine there. Anyway, made in China, I guess. So, what was I saying? Ah yes, usually you see Zergs go for a very fast Hive, but against Terran, your main composition is generally going to be Mutalisks and Hydralisks, which are both Lair Tech. So, so yeah, so he'll be fine for a while, of course, until eventually he does want some upgrades, and Guardians perhaps even. Looks like he's actually going for a drop here, loading up a couple Overlords, going into the mineral-only 3rd. That's actually not been taken yet. Note that this is a mineral-only now. On the old version of this map, it was a gas base, but it is no longer. Looks like he just drops 1 lurker to distract the vultures, which doesn't even make sense because the vultures can't shoot air anyway. But anyway, he's going to drop into the main base here. What does he actually have? Does he actually lurker? Is he going to actually lurker the mineral lines here? Uh-oh, it looks like he might be going for a multi-pronged attack here, dropping the 3 o'clock base simultaneously. Unfortunately for him, all of the units are there, so that did not do anything. But a good concept, though, from Action to try this. I mean, you know, if Firebat Hero wasn't prepared there and wasn't paying attention, he could have lost a lot of SCVs there at the 3 o'clock. So I do understand why Action's doing moves like this. They're slightly risky, but, you know, when you're that far behind, you do need to take risks in order to come back. I'm a little bit surprised he's not taking a 4th base, though. I really think he should be taking a 4th base and a 5th base, even. Like, he should just be expanding like crazy and hoping that he can hold off and eventually come back. But he's going for a huge attack here with pure Hydralisk Lurker. There's a lot of Siege Tanks here, though. I don't think that's going to work. He does have a lot of units. He's closing with the Siege Tanks, but his Hydras are just getting completely demolished. Even if he does take out this position, it has come at such a high cost. It looks like he's barely going to clean this up, and actually, does Firebat Hero have enough in the back? I mean, he's still got 120-something supply against the 45 supply, 44 supply, 30-something supply. Wait, is that 30 or 50? I don't even know. Basically, Firebat Hero has a lot more supply than his opponent. That is what I'm trying to say. That is the lesson to take from all of this. Yeah, I mean, 3 base against 3 base still. The commentators are focusing a lot on the fact that he hasn't taken this 3rd gas. Honestly, I'm not that surprised, considering he's making mainly Hydralisks. I mean, Lurkers do cost quite a bit of gas, but Hydralisks are, you know, mineral heavy and gas cheap, so it's not like he really needs that 3rd gas, honestly. He's not really teching up to anything. But anyway, Firebat Hero rolling across the map now with a gigantic mech army, 150 supply roundabouts. I actually missed what the upgrades were on that. It looks like Action actually going for a counterattack here. Maybe a counter drop into the main. But, I mean, even if he base races, like, Terran can just lift. The moral of the story is Terran can actually just move their base when it's a base race. So, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Although it looks like Firebat here is deciding to come back. That's a little bit of an interesting decision. I don't think that's going to work out for him. I think he should have just gone for the kill. It's not actually that many Overlords moving into his base. I mean, it doesn't matter. And Action just immediately GG's. He doesn't even drop his units, and he just leaves the game. He's like, no thank you. He sees the units underneath his Overlords. He's like, okay, screw this. I'm out of here. Sick GG timing by Action. Although, I mean, to be fair, he had lost the game. Like, there was absolutely no chance for him to win. It was a bit of a strange decision by Firebat Hero, but so it doesn't really matter. And there is the salute. Are we going to see any kind of dancing? No. Unfortunately not. I think there are actually Kesper rules now that you can't dance after a match. It's like, it's so... Like, if they were actually playing in the US, I'm pretty sure Firebat Hero could sue Kesper for discrimination or something because they won't let him dance. Unfortunately, it's Korea, so you can't do that. Oh well. Alright, going into set number 3, I actually just noticed that I hadn't updated the score after either of those games. The score is actually now 1-1 in this Brutal Best of 3, and the next two players are going to be Kanata for Air Force Ace, who is a Terran player, and it looks like Motive, aka Lizzie for KT. I'm going to type Lizzie even though it says Motive on the VOD.